OC, y'all. It has been a hot second. I think it's been since mid-July since we've got to sit and chat through no fault of your own. I took a bit of a hiatus. There was definitely some mental health stuff going on and some grief, and just, I don't know, I had like this mental block about getting back into video content creation. I tried a few times, made a few videos that I just hated, but this is attempt number 3, I guess, over the last couple months. The sirens have just started up, which, you know, it's probably a good sign. It's a good sign. I thought maybe instead of putting a lot of pressure on myself to make this perfect tutorial or to have a brilliant show us your knits episode to come back with, I just do something really fun and low-key. So today, we're making a crochet chicken purse. Probably not what you thought would come out of my mouth, but it's this gal right here. I am so excited. I am going to be making her, lost my train of thought. I am going to be making her as part of the Tangled In Tales Makealong that I am co-hosting with the Skaniac this fall. If you haven't heard of it yet, that's okay. We just got started on October 1st. There is plenty of time to join in if you would like. Casey and I have been doing this Tangled In Tales collaboration since the summer, and it's a really fun way for us to combine our love of books and reading and our love of yarn and knit and crochet projects. Essentially, all Casey and I are doing is we are reading books like we normally do, and then our 5-star reads, like the ones we think they're so good and we want to shout them from the rooftops, we are recommending to y'all, and we're also keeping detailed notes while we read about, a really good project to fit this vibe, or especially if a character has a sweater, you know, as knitters and crocheters, we can kind of visualize what they're wearing and like, oh, that would be really damn cute. We're writing those things down, any side characters, like animal characters especially, just projects that really fit the vibe of the book. And then we are scouring Ravelry and Etsy and the internet at large to find patterns that go along with these books. Casey and I are both big audiobook readers, and both of us are, I guess, Kindle clickers. We have the ring clickers. I'll show y'all later if you haven't seen. But we put our Kindles in stands, and then we have a little clicker on, it's like a ring, so that while we're knitting and crocheting, we can click and read. If you're thinking, wow, I can't do that, it is a skill, a developed skill. So don't feel bad if you are not able to read while you knit or crochet. But I can only do that with certain projects, but especially with audiobooks, I love to have my hands going. I don't know how anybody just listens to an audiobook like this. I have to be doing something. I have to be walking. I have to be doing the dishes. I have to be knitting and crocheting, especially is good for me. I can't just sit there or lay there and listen. That gives me anxiety. That's probably something to talk about with my therapist. I've always thought it was really fun to make, like, as an immersion activity, to be working on something that you're like, oh, this really goes with my book, while listening or while reading. I have also many times finished a book and not been done with the characters or the world that they've created, so being able to work on a project afterwards is really nice too. For this Tangled In Tales Makealong, we are inviting y'all to look through the 18 books that we have recommended in our past 3 Tangled In Tales volumes, I guess, and choose one of the books. And then we have over 100 projects, 100 patterns that we have found on Ravelry and Etsy that we think would be really great. You can choose one of those projects and make your thing. Read your book and enjoy some time to yourself. That's really all this make-along is. It's a chance this fall to just release the horrors of the world for a little bit and take some you time to read and to make. We do also have a Discord that Casey has a Discord channel, and so do I, and we are welcoming people to join those so that we can talk about our books and share works in progress photos, share ideas, yarn ideas. If you have questions, like you just kind of want a sounding board for somebody to help you with a project, that's what we're doing over on Discord. You don't have to join in order to do the make-along. You could just make your thing by yourself in silence. That is sometimes nice. But if you'd like the community aspect of the make-along, you can come on over. So this Crochet Chicken Purse, you might be like, what the hell book goes with the Crochet Chicken Purse? It is top 5 of my favorite books of all time, Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. This book, oh my God, it's so incredible. And I know the Rudy chimes are chiming. I'm sitting outside. It's very dreary and it's been rainy all day. The rain has stopped right now, but it's probably gonna start up again soon. Nettle and Bone, it is a dark, twisty fairy tale. I think I started saying that I am often known for liking smut books and liking books with a little to a lot of spice. This book ain't got any. It's got no spice, but doesn't need any. It is so, so beautiful. It is written so incredibly well. And the basic idea behind the book is that there is this quiet princess in her kingdom who was long ago sent to the convent. She has 2 older sisters, and she's living happily at the convent, by the way. But she finds out that her sister, who is married to the prince, is being abused. This is not giving anything away. This is in the book jacket. And she realizes, I can't I have to save my sister somehow. But how can I, this quiet girl who has none of the skills or anything, if you've ever doubted yourself and your abilities and your worth, I think you might really connect with this character. She decides, I have to help my sister. And so she goes and finds a dust wife, also known as a grave witch. And the grave witch says, okay, I'll help you, but you have to complete these 3 magical tasks. So she's got to do that. And she starts assembling this motley crew of characters, and it's beautiful found family. There is a little bit of romance, but again, no spice. And it's lovely. It's one of my favorite books that I've ever read. My favorite quote, I had it written down in the Tangled in Tales slides, and I'll just read to you because there is some feminine rage in this book, which I love. But it says, the history of the world was written in women's wombs and women's blood, and she would never be allowed to change it. Spoiler, she might change it. One of the characters, the most lovable characters in this book, not the most lovable, but one of the most lovable, is a demon chicken. The witch in the story has a demon chicken, and I just fucking loved her. She is great, and whenever I was looking up some chicken patterns, hen patterns, I stumbled across this Crochet Chicken Purse. As I read through the instructions for making this purse, I felt like I could probably bang this out in a day. Maybe. That's the challenge that we're setting forth, to see, not really to finish it in a day, but to see how far we can get in a day. So that's what we're doing today. We are going to attempt to make a chicken purse in one day-ish. By the way, in the description of this video, I am going to have all of the links to the Tangled in Tales book recommendations, all of the links to the info, the rules for joining the Makealong, to Casey and my Discord channels, to the Ravelry bundles if you want to check out the patterns that we have available to choose from to do the Makealong. That will all be in the description of this video. So I went through my stash yarn because what color will we make the chicken? I don't know, and I was not buying anything for this. So I am going to be using my Support Your Local Coven project bag because this book has a lot of witches and magic in it, and I just felt like that's appropriate. And I have some options. I might have one thing that's like perfect for a traditional chicken, but I'm not sure I want to go that route. I will say I read through the project pages on Ravelry, and they're so good. There are so many adorable chicken bags. I'll toss a couple of them up here because they're just really cute. But I was a little confused by the pattern even after having purchased it. I think the recommended yarn is actually a macrame yarn, a 3mm macrame yarn. I do not have that. And then it said, or worsted weight yarn. But the amount of yarn that they put, I wasn't sure if I would need double that. I know that I need to hold the worsted weight yarn double, I think. It's not very clear in the pattern. But I'm not sure if I need 300 grams total because I would be holding the 2 strands to get to like 150 grams, 150 grams. Or if I need 600 grams of worsted weight yarn. I'm not sure, and nobody in the Ravelry project pages It seems like it's on the lower end for those people who did put amounts. So I'm guessing I need 300 grams total of worsted weight yarn. But I'm just stating this beforehand so that if we get like to a certain point and I'm like, well, can't finish the project because I don't have enough yarn, then we'll know that I needed 600. And that will be sad. We will survive. So because of that, I have some options for worsted weight held double and one option for holding yarn potentially single. My first possibility for yarn to make the very traditional kind of cream white chicken with the red, it's not plumage, the red frilly things at the top of her head and the yellow beak. I think this is Lily, the sugar and cream yarn in like this cream colorway. And then I think this is also Lily Sugar and Cream. They're not exactly the same cream. I may have another cone of this somewhere. I just didn't see it, but I could hunt more. But I would be fine with these two colors kind of marling together. I don't think it would be very noticeable. I don't think that's too noticeable of a difference there. I definitely have enough yarn to do the traditional chicken. And what I like about the Lily Sugar and Cream, it's a very stiff, sturdy cotton yarn. So I think that would give a lot of structure to my bag. Not as structured, I do have, and I think there's even one more, I have 3 skeins of this Lion Brand jeans in the colorway khaki. And I feel like this is also a very hennish color. So I could make a softer bag and it would probably be a little smaller in its overall measurements because I think these are both DK. It says, woo, wind. It says worsted, but I think this is probably a little on the lighter end of that. So I could do kind of a smaller purse. I also have, I think this is, I measured, was like a little over 100 grams of this khaki yarn. And I'm thinking if I need 300 grams total, I might be able to squeak out holding these two together. This is where I get confused. Should I have 300 grams of this? I'm not sure. But I could hold these together, and this is a Lily Sugar and Cream. It would give a little more structure and then some softness. This jeans yarn is super soft. So I could do these, but I think I would be worried about my total yardage. My next option, which I feel like is kind of fun, but again, I would be a little worried. I have 2 of these skeins, I can't even tell you how many years ago, from Wool and the Gang. This is their XL cotton in Oh My Blush. It is 100% cotton. I have 100 grams in each ball, and that's 82 yards. What I was thinking is because this is such an extra large cotton, I wondered, could I hold it single? But I don't think like 200 grams would probably not be enough yarn. But I could be wild and try it anyway. I do have some other pink cottons that are not the same color, but she could, I could do like a row or 2 in different pinks, like 2 pinks held together. So I could make her like a confetti looking pink chicken. And I am strangely loving that idea. But that could mean a lot of frogging. That would probably not pan out as well for our do this in a day idea. If I had more time, maybe this would be good. I'm not sure. And if I go the traditional route with either the khaki colors or the very creamy classic color, I do have some reds for the plumage and some yellow that I think that would go with either. If I do a pink chicken, I think we should get wild and give her like aqua plumage. It's not plumage, I don't know what that thing's called, but you know, aqua that, and like maybe a sparkly gold beak. She'd be a mermaid chicken, I kind of love it. All right, I'm gonna go make some coffee. I'm gonna go get comfy in my bedroom. I have my fairy lights all set up. I'm gonna put either some ASMR videos on or a movie, and I'm gonna make my decision. We'll meet and regroup there. but take your guesses now which chicken I'm gonna make. I didn't think about how backlit this is gonna be. Can I? Oh wait, I can make myself a little light here. Hang on. Oh, how fun. There we are. Cozy under the fairy lights with our coffee in a magical mug. I had so much fun playing in my stash. If it works, I think this is gonna be awesome. This could fail spectacularly, but I think it's gonna be really great. Let me show you. How many people guessed I'd be going with the pink chicken? Now, I was about to walk out of my office with a different choice whenever I remembered that I have 2 skeins of this pink gopher fur. Won't it look like the feathers? I could have a fluffy chicken. I don't know how this is going to go to make the fabric. I'm hoping amazingly. I'm hoping amazing. What I have now is 200 grams of this Lion Brand Gopher Faux. So I get 65 yards in each. It's considered a super bulky yarn, but it is very lightweight. I know because I made a coat out of it, the super soft coat by One of a Kate. It's one of the coolest things I've ever made. So it stands to reason that a purse made with it would also be one of the coolest things I've ever made, but maybe not very sturdy. That's okay. She doesn't need to be sturdy. She can be a soft girl. I like that for her. And I have 200 grams of this cotton. My plan is to do every other row. So like a cotton row, and then I'm calling it a feather row, but it should be a fur row. And then a feather row. Guess we'll see how that goes. Then for the lack of a better word, plumage. I think I do have other options. I just thought this was so fun that the colors went together so well. But this might be too thick, unless I want her to have really thick headdressy plumage thing. This is Knit Picks Tough Puff. This is definitely, like, looking at the yarn held together, she's much thicker. And I believe in the pattern, they used a thinner yarn, a DK yarn, instead of the macrame or the worsted. But again, free will, we can do whatever we want. But if it looks silly, and not fun silly, but like silly, I will change it to a different teal yarn because I have quite a bit. For the beak, again, this might not work, but shouldn't she have a rose gold shimmer beak? This is Metallico from Hobby, or Hobby. I never know how to say their brand. But it's a 70% polyamide, 21% acrylic, 9% merino wool, which sounds like a super fancy and luxurious yarn to be using for this project. But I had purchased this yarn for a sweater dress, and I really don't like the feel of it. I think if I made myself a sweater or a sweater dress with this yarn, I wouldn't wear it. So I wanted to save it for a fun project, like maybe a cool shawl or a blanket or something else cool. And I think a teeny tiny chicken beak would be great to use up just a little bit of this. So I brought 2 because I don't know if her beak is held double or not. I need to consult the pattern, but pretty cool color scheme, huh? I'm excited. I have 2 hooks here to play with. I think the pattern called for a 7mm hook. I don't own one. That's weird. I do have 2 different 6.5s though. I also don't have, the next hook size up I have is, I think, a 9mm. No, I have an 8mm, but I don't think I want to go bigger. I think I'd rather my stitches be denser. So 2 different 6.5. I have the Furls crochet hook, which I've only started using these this year, and I do really like them, but some yarns I have found it can be fussy to work with, especially like these thicker yarns. So I'm not sure if I'll be using that. I also have my gorgeous sparkly Made by Mac Die Connolly hook. And I know this works with all yarns. It's a really nice smooth, it's a smooth ride. I really enjoy it. So one of these hooks I'll be using whenever I get started. And I guess that's really the next step. I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and I'll let you know how it goes. I think I love it. I do. I guess we'll find out with more, but doing every other row, it's kind of fun. It feels like magic because it's really hard to read your stitches with this furry yarn. And so it's like just working on a prayer, just feeling it out, feeling the magic into the stitches and just taking a guess. And you know, it's really not that serious. So I'm gonna keep going. I think it's kind of fun. Could be a mistake. I'm so happy with my life choices. It's looking so damn cute. This yarn, I'm getting an arm workout here, like a forearm workout. I am loving how it looks. I'm doing the frill, which I decided based on my switching yarns every row should have been a furry row. But maybe it would have been good with like the feathers as these little shell stitches, but you wouldn't be able to see the definition. So I opted to go with this yarn, which is the yarn I have less of. The pattern has you do more stitches in the shell, and mine was starting to really ruffle with that many stitches. So I've backed it off to a 6 double crochet shell stitch for the bottom, and I think that's looking really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the bottom here, and then I have to do an edging on the inside, which like gives the bag a base, and then we'll be making panel 2 and doing the same thing. So it's going well so far. I think, I hope. One panel is done. I love it. I am glad that I went, I think, with this yarn. I could do fuzzy on the other side because it's 2 panels. I could do one side with the stitches and the other side with the fuzzy stitches. Maybe not. Okay, well, this one is the head, and then we'll be adding some things to it. It's adorable. I love it. Okay, the second panel went so much faster knowing what to do. So we have panel number 1 and panel number 2. I will say I made the design choice. It was actually just which row I'd be able to read the stitches on. My inside of my purse is going to be a little smaller than the pattern intended because I think this was supposed to be like 1 or 2 rows more, but that was on a furry row and I didn't feel like attempting to read where all the front loop stitches were. So the inside of my purse is just going to be a little bit smaller with a little bit extra hanging from the bottom. So I still need to add this little, I think she calls it like an edge row, and that's gonna kind of create the, it's not a lining, but like, so that it's not just 2 flat panels being seamed together. There will be an edge along the bag. So I'm going to do that with my second piece, but it is a little after 6 p.m. I think I put timestamps on this video, but I started it a little later than I wanted. 3:34, I don't know. So it really hasn't been that long. And I'm very impressed, 2 of these panels done. But I'm gonna take a little break, do some yoga, have dinner, get a shower, and then I'm hoping, if I'm not too tired, to finish this up tonight, because really all there is sewing together, adding the head features, and a strap. So I feel like I could get that done tonight, but we're gonna say 24 hours instead of like 1 calendar day, and it might get finished tomorrow. We'll see, but I can't wait to show you. I'm loving it already. you see it? Like, yeah, I feel like, yeah. Okay, baby.
Yeah.
Do you think you could cut off the stem? She has only one eye because it keeps popping out. If you cut that off, I could just hot glue it.
Could glue it. Let's see.
So Steven's going to cut those off, but like, I have these ends to weave in. I wasn't sure how anything was going to work with this because I was using a much thicker yarn than they recommended. I just loved this blue though. And the beak is a rose gold. And this is the little frill. Oh, this is called a comb. Very excited about that, to know that word. What do we think? I think once the eye's in there, you'll really be able to see the chicken. And it's almost 10 o'clock. She is a purse, by the way. Like, look at this. You can see inside my chicken. And it's a decent purse. Like, I can fit my phone in there. I could put, probably not my full wallet, like comfortably, but maybe like my little like card, just like cards and a couple bills in there. A little bit of makeup. I think she's really cute. And she's sturdy. I'm happy. She is a soft girl though. Like she's a mixture between strong and soft. And I kind of love that for the full moon tonight. Oh, soft girl fall. I think she'll look a little better whenever I weave in these ends and I get her eyes on, but that might be a tomorrow thing. It's almost 10 o'clock. I think I'm gonna go to bed. And in the morning we will, oh, the other thing that's in the pattern that I can do is crochet like a little strap and then put a button. My husband said, why don't we find a chicken nugget button? You can't feed chicken to the chicken. Name that movie. I think I probably have a sparkly button somewhere, and I think that would be really cute. I do think I would like to have a little fold over strappy, but we're gonna get this baby done in like 24 hours. Oh, okay, I've thought of her name. She's Jennifer Lopez. And, you know, emphasis on the hen. And while I was telling my husband this on our walk this evening under the full moon, I started singing Jenny from the Block. And I was like, oh, what lyrics could I substitute? Don't be fooled by the cocks that I've got. I'm still Henny from the Block. Used to cluck a little, now I cluck a lot. This was such a good idea. Jennifer's gonna have her own song. Okay, this bag has brought me so much joy already. We all need some more whimsy in our lives. Okay, we'll check in tomorrow and see how Jennifer Lopez, Henny from the Block, is doing. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, October 7th. My husband and I had beautiful full moon walk last night, and I got up early this morning. It was so pretty on my walk this morning with the sunrise. And I was just very chill. Came back, did a little workout, got a shower, and now I have about 45 minutes until my therapy appointment. We love therapy. Go mental health. I just love her so much. She's so amazing. My Henny from the Block. I think, trying to decide if I just want to make the strap now. Probably. I think the strap will be really easy to just sit here with my coffee and do. And then we're going to make a tiny little closure from here that will just sit over the bag, and we'll sew a button on so that it will have, I mean, things could still fall out the side, you know, if the purse tipped over. But I don't think I have a ton of buttons. I think they're like in the top back of my closet in my office. But we're gonna pull it down. I'm hoping that I have something sparkly, or maybe something teal or pink. Any of those would be great options. So we'll see what I have in there. And yeah, this really isn't gonna take much more time to finish up. Just I kind of have therapy smack dab in the middle of it. And usually I need like some decompression time after therapy. We'll see how far we get. She'll definitely be done today, knock on wood. But I'm very excited. I think she's gonna be so cute. I'm planning, tonight is date night. We do date nights on Tuesday. I will absolutely be wearing her out for date night tonight and get to style my outfit. Okay, I did about 135. The pattern recommended 100 chains. 120 put it up high, but I feel like this is gonna stretch a little bit. And then whenever I started doing the half double crochets through the back loop, or the back bump, I guess, I'm like, ooh, I think that's gonna shorten it up. So I think 135 will be a good length for me. Finished therapy and took some time to decompress after, and I finished Henny's chain, her strap. I did exactly what I didn't want to do though. I made it a little longer than I thought. When I had the chain, and I think I got to like 120, and it was like right up here on my armpit, and I thought, oh, maybe going in through the back bumps is gonna shorten it up a little bit. I don't want it too high, but I know it's gonna stretch with weight. So I was like, well, I'm gonna go to 135. So I made this chain of 135, like felt it on. It's a little longer than I would have liked. I'll pop, not right now, a picture, but at the end, we'll take a look at where it falls. But an easy fix is to just like make a little knot here at the top. I'm not going through and redoing the chain. I've already stitched it on, but it's still great. She's on my hip. I just kind of wanted her to be like more on my waist than my hip, but she's adorable. Last step is adding the little closure and button, and I went into my button box. Look what I found. These little, don't they look like little eggs almost? How perfect is that going to be? Perfect match. So I'm going to make this little closure, real simple. We're just attaching yarn. It says until it's long enough, so I want it to be able to hold things. I'll give it like an inch or two, like at the top, so that it could expand a bit. I'm not sure. I'll play around with it. But then we just add a chain space, and we're gonna sew the button directly onto the bag wherever we would want that to attach. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on that. We'll weave in the remaining ends. There's very few. I've woven in most of the ends, and then she'll be done. And I'm so comfy out here. I wanted to sit here and crochet, but I can feel some raindrops, so we might have to head back in soon. We'll see. Maybe it'll just pass by with just some, oh, whoa. Starting to come down a little heavier. She's done. Henny is complete. I love her. Pop my phone in here. She's incredible. She's amazing. I'm gonna pop in some videos so you can see Henny in all her glory with an outfit. This project brought me a crazy amount of joy, and I really enjoyed filming it and sharing it with y'all. I think this was a great way to get back into content creation a little bit. I highly recommend, if you're feeling down, you might need an emotional support Henny. I can't tell you how much you're gonna crack up when you read Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher and you get to carry around your own demon chicken. She's got, look at her eyes. Look at her eyes. There's a little demonicness in there, in like a good way, in a great way. I think I put on the button backwards. It's fine. She doesn't really have a front side and a back side. They're even. But as I'm looking at it, this was technically the wrong side of Henny's head. And I sewed the button there. That's fine though. She's demonic. Of course it should be a little backwards. Anyways, make sure that you check out Nettle and Bone. I really think if you like dark fairy tales, if you like beautiful writing, immersive worlds, feminine rage, I think you'll enjoy that book a lot. Now let's talk some final stats with Henny, my Henny from the block. I'm going to put exact measurements on my Ravelry project page, which will be linked in this description. But I had 200 grams of the pink We Are Knitters extra large cotton. This is how much I have left. I'm gonna guess that I used 165 yards. I don't know. Is this like 45 yards? I don't know. But I used less than 200 grams of that yarn. For the fuzzy yarn, I used less than 1 skein. I wouldn't say that I have half the skein. It was a little over half that I used to make my 2 panels in the Lion brand Go for Faux. I used a minimal amount of Knit Picks Tough Puff and a minimal amount of that Hobie Metallica yarn, like just that tiny little bit. Overall, I think the pattern is great. If you are a beginner crocheter, there are some things that might be a little confusing. I think I had read in some of the other Ravelry project pages, there's 1 or 2 lines that I think she might have missed a stitch, but you can just fudge it. It doesn't change the shape or anything of the pattern. And there's a few times where things aren't super, like, is it the wrong side of the fabric? Is it the right side of the fabric? I feel like it could be a little clearer, but if you are an advanced beginner intermediate crocheter, I think you're gonna be just fine. Again, I did hot glued my eyes on because there's so little space in between to add the stem of the eyes to do those safety eyes. So cutting those off and super gluing or hot gluing, I think, is the way to go for this. I'm gonna pop in a picture or a video here. Hopefully future Chelsea do this. I wanna see if I can fit my Kindle, my phone, maybe my wallet, some makeup. Maybe I'll try putting a project in there and seeing what other things could fit in with Henny, because she's not super big, but I feel like she's still surprisingly roomy on the inside. So I think that this is gonna be a great little purse for afternoons out and about, dinner dates. Who wouldn't wanna bring Henny to dinner? And I'm definitely bringing her, like I said, on vacation next week. So challenge completed. We were easily able to make Henny in a day. I'd estimate it took me 4 to 5 hours. And I'm feeling really good and really proud and looking forward to my next project. I have started Nettle and Bone now. I started it last night after I finished up my last audiobook, and it's just lovely. It's making me want to cast on something else. In the Ravelry bundle for our Tangled In Tales Makealong, there are 2 projects that are kind of striking my interest, piquing my interest, striking my fancy. Words are hard. Is it striking my fancy? Strike your fancy. I may be making up things now, but there is an adorable pattern. It's a crochet pattern for Bone Dog, who is another amazing side character. I do love Demon Chicken, but Bone Dog has my heart. It seems like it has a lot of color work though, so that wouldn't be as relaxing of a project for me, who's right now just into meditative making. But I'm definitely gonna look into it because I think that Bone Dog is so damn cute. And I have some cloak patterns. One of the things our character has to do in the story, one of her challenges, is to weave a cloak out of nettles. It's so good. I have a couple knit cloaks on there, a couple crochet ones. I think I might make another healing shawl, which is my own pattern, tooting my own horn. But it's such a relaxing make. And I think this time I might go with some worsted or chunky weight yarn and make myself like a massive neon cloak. I just feel like it'd be really cool. So we'll see. I'm gonna play around with that. But I will probably make one more project for Nettle and Bone. And then another book that I'm thinking of rereading for the Tangled In Tales Makealong is The Coven. It is a steamy read. It is very steamy. Lots of trigger warnings. Make sure you check them if you are planning to read it. But that's a really fun one, and I could make something kind of sexy or bookish, academic. God, words are hard today. Dark academia / academic. There we go. But the Makealong continues, as I said before, through November 30th, so there's plenty of time to join. I hope that it will not be so long until I see y'all next time here on YouTube and we get to hang out. But I'm not making any promises. Mental health is a journey. It is not linear. But thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.